Oh, shit. Now, hello. Ah, okay. Sorry about that. Oh, fair income. Okay, I can see me. Okay, I know what that message is for. Someone's alerted me that my audio's, and I'll look in chat too. Good evening, Peter. How you going, Lene? Oh, he's got no audio. Terrence, g'day, mate. Gee whiz. Thank you for that message. Whoever that message is sent, you know who that is. Well done, because I'm going to start again. It was only 3 minutes or 4 minutes that were wasted. So this is a cannabis channel that promotes legal activities and only legal things. Doesn't promote anything to do with illegal stuff. It's all about education, news, experiments, and health and legalities. So I promote the legal side of things, and I want to put out that I'm not going to give any advice on how to do bad things or how to grow your illegal crop, because I only support the law. Look at it in your area. Today's stream. Start again. This week, I'm talking about biopesticides, microbes, terpenes, and the entourage effect, and pathogens, which is kind of related. So there's a few things thrown in on that. And ants in pesticides. Ants is cool. And you can use ants as a biopesticide. Yes, it's because I study ants part-time. It's myrmecology. I'm fascinated with them. If society was more like ants, we would be very successful. Anyway, it's a cannabis channel, not an ants channel. So I'm going to start and present. Share the screen is the word. Wow. So lucky it was only a few minutes in. Thank you to that mystery person. Okay, start again. Funny. CNN. These are all the years that it's going up, and it's different types of shapes that it's going through, and it goes down, and they're getting better and better, and you see all sighted from this powerful telescope. And I thought that was pretty funny. Ireland, they're promoting new cannabis laws soon. So a bill that would legalize personal use of cannabis is happening in 2 weeks for Ireland. So congratulations to the Irish people. And do you have an eating disorder? I showed this a bit before, but this is to do with cannabis and an eating disorder. So if you have both of them, you're welcome to partake in this University of Sydney's study that they're putting together on the relationship between them. And I'm really happy to say that they're doing cannabis including in their studies now. So this looks like it's going to be going for the future. So finally, they're going to show that it does help, and it's going to be successful, so cannabis can move forward, because they're introducing studies now, because it's the only way that the government wants to move forward is they want studies. Otherwise, they're not interested. So this is a really, really good step for Australia's population. And it does help, just for the record, is massively helps. You've got to get the one that's the right cultivar that agrees with your body, your genetic makeup, because they're all different. Like if I had sativa, I'm caffeine sensitive, so that would angst me out, and I probably wouldn't think about my stomach because I'd be too heart beating too much and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, but it comes to do with the entourage effect as well, possibly. Actually, I'm not going to talk about that. So this is another thing. Forbes says the US cannabis sales could top $72 billion by 2030. So you can see how much money is involved, and that's why the government, being really money first and health second, that's why we're at where we're at. How's this? This is huge. This is a bust done by the police in Spain, the largest in the world. It was 30 tons that they confiscated in November, so a few weeks ago. And it's a great outcome. So once they took it, the 30 tons, and they said, no, these criminal entities use it so bad, blah, blah. One of the most precautious newspapers, yet referring to the owners as a herb, as a gang in another paper. And it turns out that the 32 tons seized by the police was hemp. So they had to give it back. And look, isn't it interesting now it's 32 tons, but they seized, oh, hang on, that says more then. But they always write down different things. So that was fascinating. So it turned out to be CBD. So interesting. And here's something else for the news. Tilray, which is they're on the stock exchange, they have bought another, plural second or third, alcohol company. So you know what the future is going to be. I don't have to blooming go and say anything about that one. Yeah, Tilray. Do you know what they did? They published an ad saying that if you they hang their cannabis to improve the THC production because it drains down. They did that. They said their scientist said this. This is this brand, Tilray. Yep. Not very good, mate. All right, I'll say some amazing facts about trees, but I'm going to say hello to people. I haven't said hello in the chat yet. So CSL Loan, Peter, how you going? Lene M, g'day, there's no audio. Yes, I think that was helpful from you. Terrence, how you going? Who else is there? Aussie Autos. How you going, mate? Ants, Ned Kelly, Momic Meds. There's no questions, so I'm sort of looking for the question mark as I'm going down to. Aussie Autos, Small Tubes. G'day, Small Tubes. Terrence, what a joke. Terrence, Monty, g'day, Monty. Cool, no questions, sweet. So this is a cool, I just like this because look at him, I reckon he's pretty snazzy anyway. And I thought it's to do with trees, which cannabis is involved in. So you've already read the facts there. I'm not going to go over it. There's some cool statistics because this is a pretty big show on microbes, I think. The carbon cycle's related. I'm a greenie, environmental science I study. This is to do with what involves with the carbon, where it goes into the atmosphere and how it cycles through, back through the soils and through the liquids, and how it's stored. So that's just touching on that. I'm not going to explain it. You can see where it's stored there and the different types of things, the gases, oils and coals, different depths, permafrost. But the majority of it is in the oceans. In the terrestrial, it's in the soils. And this is a tracking carbon emissions from the emissions by nations on the left. And on the right is the total emissions emitted per capita. So you can see per person. So you can see, for instance, Gibraltar needs help, like Virgin Islands. Like Australia is pretty big. Over here, it's to do with population size. So biggest China's because China's huge. Actually, Japan doesn't got. Anyway, that's what that shows. I want to get to the cannabis stuff. Bees, yeah. There was a thing before this to do with ants, because I remember the ants. See, this is to do with crop care and bio-pesticides. So I've got to stop sharing. I've got to somehow get out of this screen and get back to this one. And there's something to do with ants. Here we go. Ants can be better than pesticides for growing healthy crops, this study finds. This study was done August, a few months ago. So there's, look at that, lovely looking Anticomonta ant. They say that's 14,000 species. Yeah, there's 14,000 species that have been discovered, but there's approximately 20,000 that are still out there. So there's still many that are undiscovered. And what they're saying, the analysts took 17 crops and did a big did a big study on them. Hang on, I'm going to have a drink. In that, they studied 26 species. Most of them were tree ants that climb on trees. So if you see them on the trees, what you could do, because usually they are after the nectar, the honeydew, the stuff that comes out of it, the secretions of the sweetness. And they usually get them from down here, like the mealybugs, aphids, whiteflies. So what you can do, what the study suggests is that you put fake honey down the bottom of the plant or the tree, and the ants they'll have a good supply of the source, the tree ants. They will walk all over the trees and they disrupt anything, and they'll protect the trees because they're getting fed. And that was the outcome, really. to summarize it all. So I thought, wow, that is so cool. So big take-home message from me. No, this paper says we need to understand more about the mycology, the ecologists need to get out there. But I thought this is really like what a novel idea, to supply them with their own honeydew, and then they'll protect your trees. So there you go. I'll read the chat while I show that really nice looking ant. Can I zoom in on that? Yeah, look at that. There you go. Wow, that's so cool. Sweet. You know, they got compound eyes. When I put them under my microscope, you can see all the compounds in their eyes. It looks so nice. Anyway, sorry, back to the chat. I'll just go. Montana, how you going? That's where I was up to. Part-time planting. G'day. Critter, how you going, Critter? Thanks for the support, everybody. Monty, Ned Kelly, PTP. Can I integrate ants into indoor raised beds? Yes, ants are really cool. If you ever see ants inside the house, that means they're cleaning up, they're helping you. So I encourage when I see them. I've got a few things hanging around that I support, and I enjoy their company because they're not there to hurt. Well, anyway, different types of what species you are. But yes, so there was Peter asked, can I integrate ants into indoor raised beds as well? Well, if you've got raised beds, I'd support it because you're already doing organics. So definitely, mate, they'll protect you. So you need to go outside. This is the thing with ants. You have to wait to the nuptial cycle when they're flying, and then you'll collect the females, which you can tell the difference from their antenna. See their antenna here? It's got segmented parts, and in the middle, it's kinked. So the males aren't kinked in the middle, they're straight. So you need a kinked one, and when they do, they'll drop off their wings. That means that they've been fertilized, and they only need to be fertilized once, and they live for up to 20 years. So that's how to get them. But gosh, this is a microbe show. Sorry, I got to get back to it. Peter, yes. So it's your question, mate. Yes, you got to do it. Find yourself a queen. Contact me if you want to know how to do it a bit more in detail. And I think it would work. Well, that's what this paper says. And please, if you do it, get back to us on the test results, because we need to know experiments, if they work, what they do, if they're related to cannabis, because all these things, not many people test stuff in cannabis. And that's where I've done all these agricultural tests in cannabis and find most of them work. So we need to get more test results from people that have done them. And I like this because this is, I don't know what's going on there. I'm not really into bees much, but they're there for a reason. So I don't know if there's a queen in the middle and they're hiving around her or what, or it's been forced there. But it's cool. Here's some birds nesting in cannabis as well. And you know that wouldn't be very big, little hummingbirds or something. Here's the nose bit. So I was talking about this citing publishing paper says how the nose knows the aroma. So it's not the THC that medicates, it's the smell that actually gives you the pleasantries. And they said that in this paper that if you smell the bag and you see it smells nice, there's a chance that it'll agree with your makeup. So for people with that dog shit smell, that dog shit weed, if you like that, well, it's going to work for you probably. But if you don't, you think it does smell like dog shit, it probably won't work. There's another thing related to that. So yeah, that's the nose. And here's the quality is more about the terpenes and cannabinoids. So there's the paper that was studied, published, and over 270 participants went into this test, and the study demonstrated that while higher aroma scores correlated with better experiences of the cannabis, the correlation did not hold up with comparing against terpenes and cannabinoid concentrations. So the outcome of that means the nose aroma, but not THC medicates the subject of smoked or vaporized cannabis flower. Well, THC is one compound. It's the psychoactive thing that gives you the head high, and it opens those other CB1 and CB2 receptors. And then you've got the terpenes with it, which give you all of the other entourage effects, which the combination is called the entourage. And I'm into antispasmodic ones for my epilepsy, into pain-reducing ones like myrcene, and anti-anxiety ones. Anyway, go on to the next thing. Oh, this is $5 for support. This is that little button down the bottom. So thank you for the people that have pressed it. $80 is for my private lectures. I've got about a dozen of them. $150 is for a 20-minute video call and like novelty gifts, like of a chart or something I've made. $300 is for a weekly call for the month, and like that might be for a company or for a person who's going through patient problems in there trying to get a doctor sorted with cannabis or some sort of legal cannabis thing, and I can give my educated opinion. I'm not a lawyer, but I've been enough through it that can suggest something possibly. So that's for that. We're into the can of jobs. So this is a good one. Look at this. A recipe they put out. It's a brownie mix. How sweet is that? So you chefs, come on. I know you know a brownie mix. Whack a box together and woohoo. All right, I'll read chat while it's up on the screen. Terrence. Cheaper vegetables. Oh yeah, Hungry Jacks. Critter, Monty's there. PTP, Ned Kelly, Scale. Oh, there's a question mark. Can I integrate ants into indoor? Oh, geez. Sorry, answered that. Scroll down. Oh, good. Nothing. I've already nearly caught up. Oh, did it move? That was a question from Monty to someone else. Sweet. Back to it. Look at this one for the dressmakers and the sewing people or the style people. He's got his I just laughed at it because people are going to want it. There's need for it. So another Kenner job. And this is infused spicy tuna roll. So it's probably another chef's thing, entrepreneurship. And I just love this. Because, wow, for people in the carving, you can get out and you can whittle your wood or carve some rock like this extremely clever person. This is in the Cusco region in Peru. How cool is that? That's just really good. This is, another chef's Kenner entrepreneurship. These are some a lot of chef stuff in there. Might be related again. This has 10 milligrams of THC per gummy or 100 milligrams per container. So that means they got 10. Wow. It's probably like $2 a gummy. Anyway, this is to some artistic people or to people who maybe want to get into glass blowing. You can, get into it. Do some Kenner related things. All right, we're into microbes. So the importance of microbes. So plants rely on microbes for many functions, such as nutrition, tolerance for drought or heat stress, protection against pathogens. Is it possible to manipulate them to enhance crop production? Well, ants suggest yes. So we've got two regions. So you've got the rhizosphere, which represents the region just right next to the roots. And the phyllosphere is the area just next to all of the green leaf material and all the cells out there. So yes, phytostimulation. That's coming up in a few weeks. I'm going to talk about what phytostimulation, you can manipulate through biodegradation. There's all sorts of different ways plants can help. So that's in a few weeks' time. I'm going to talk about different types of phytos. Soil health and the immune system is amazingly linked. So they found that, well, soil and the human gut contain approximately the same number of active microorganisms, while the human gut microbiome diversity is 10% of the soils and has decreased dramatically within the modern lifestyle because people don't even touch dirt anymore. They walk around on concrete with shoes on. You know, people wear shoes inside, so they can't ever earth out. And you can't exchange microbes. You can get all sorts. If you take the human body consists of about 10 times, that's what was just previously said, and that's the It's the vagus nerve that's linked, and there's a huge reaction with the gut to the brain. It's huge. It's something that I want to get involved in, and since microbes from fruits, salads join the microbiome, the plant microbiome can affect the gut microbiome and therapy of human health. Yeah, so that's why they say all the green leafy vegetables, etc., and are more beneficial. Don't sterilize things. The people that bleach stuff, you're killing all your microbes. Or it is linked. It's cool. And this is an electron scanning microscope of some cannabis with some microbes on it, and they're not coloured. This is just electro scanning. It's just so detailed and so that you can see the different diversity that are in there. They're sitting in spore form, so they're not functioning because they're just round dots more than likely. So they're waiting for its right type of water activity level, and bacteria is like above 90% humidity, but Aspergillus is 60 to 65. Saccharomyces, the yeast, is similar too. So anything above 65% has a chance this will germinate, and that's how it'll sprout, and that'll go on and interfere with possible problems down the track. Good soil has half pathogens. It has just as much good pathogens as bad things. So that's why it's showing here. That's how it exists. With the prokaryotic cells, which are like bean shaped, half of it is a endospore. So when the front half dies, you're left with this last back bit. This is rad. I love these types of things. This is Pseudomonas species, which is to do with cannabis sativa, and it just shows the different relationships that they have on the different areas of the plant. So you've got the phylosphere, endosphere is inside of it, and the rhizosphere, and in the soil. So they're all different, many different microbes in all these different regions that function and do all different types of things. Just like our body, we even got one. We got multiple amounts. If you want to do a mega, if you want to go and extract a whole community, you'll find there'll be 10,000 different species in there. There's huge amounts of biodiversity. So the plant growth promotions, it helps with the stress from abiotic and biotic. And they're the outcomes. Okay. So the beneficial ones like Pseudomonas forensis or Petita. Petita actually removes oil spills. That was in my biotechnology class. And the pathogenic ones you don't want is Pseudomonas syringae. I actually had this not long ago. It gives bad chlorosis, horrible chlorosis, and it wasn't a win-win situation. It was a kind of a DDT poison effect. It wasn't good. If you got that, good luck. I had to go and replace the endophytes inside of it, which was a process in itself. So I'm going to continue. THC is above, in cannabis, yeah, it's above 0.3. Below it's 0.3 is classed where it's legal. Actually, in the States, it's legal. Here's some pathogens. Actually, I'll go back onto the previous one and see if there's any questions. Where was I up to? Now, if I don't mention your question, it's because I haven't read it. So please, if I've just answered it, just put it in chat a second time or a third time if I haven't been to it. Here's a question. Peter says, does topsoil in a exclusively sub-irrigated raised bed get too dry for microbes? Does topsoil in a sub-irrigated? Well, it depends. That's your question to answer. Is it dry enough whereas it's really bone dry and the biodiversity isn't very high there? You want the roots is the area where you really want it to be huge, because otherwise you'll be decomposing in different areas in the topsoil. And I suppose that might be all right. Depends what you want your setup to be. But in general, you don't want it very moist. You want oxygen to get to the roots, because that's how oxygen gets into the plant, through the roots. So if it can't get oxygen because there's too much water there, that's bad. So if anything, you do want it dry. But again, it depends on your setup, mate, because everybody's got different setups and you can make things work for different things that you want to happen. Like if you want it wet, because you might be having humidity issues where it's very dry. So you always want to keep the topsoil moist. So there's all different types of reasons why you have different things happening. Thanks for the question again, Peter. Hi, Mick. How you going? If you don't mulch your raised bed, I guess they could get too dry. Yeah, you go, Monty. See, he's helping. He's onto it. Hey, Mick. Peter, is still wet by the field? Yes. Yes, that means it probably would be. I suggest then would be to get because if it's wet on the top, that means there'll be moisture just an inch below. And that means that through the water tension, the capillaries, it might be touching so the air can't travel through, if you know what I mean. I hope, no, it didn't come out too well. All right, I've caught up on chat. If that's, so conclude that, Peter. Get a soil moisture meter, get a capacitive one, not a resistive one, and that there are probes with a digital out meter on it, and it just tells you number so you can learn. That might be something that might find you interested in, probably about $30. All right, down the bottom, the emerging pathogens on cannabis from 2021. So, bud rot. Yes, botrytis. Fusarium bud rot. Never heard of Fusarium bud rot, but that's what this says. So there's all different types of bud rot. Look, sclerentina, diprothak, so there's something you've got to look out for. That's typical when it's in late harvest, when the humidity is above 65% in your room, you're going to get that. So relate back to this page, and this is probably what you'll want to be investigating if your conditions in that. Bacterial leaf spots. Yeah, powdery mildew is on the top, and downy mildew is underneath of it, under the bottom. That's the difference. The stem cankers are those little round-looking things. You're seeing it? They're usually not too bad. They can leach and suck out the phloem activities. They can be phloem feeders, and they can put pathogens, if they have them, into your genetics. Like agrobacterium, it creates a crown gall, so you might see this round thing, and that's a bacteria that is used to transfer genes in the lab. It's really handy. And the ones down the bottom are really they're the AussyCC group, which is the water pathogens, and that's really from being too high in too wetness. So if it's too wet again, you can bank on getting a bit of pythium. All right, that's it for that. Very good. Next one. Causes of bud rot. So there's several species of fungi that cause it, that we just saw just then, all those ones that were there. So this is just the causes of them. So those spores are around like we saw before on the electroscanning microscope. So all these spores are already there. So if you're going to create those conditions, you're going to culture them. Factors that contribute are development of the inflorescence, the Brach density. Oh, that's okay. So yeah, if it's really, really tight, they will be inside of it, and then because it's tight in there, the humidity will be higher inside of your buds than outside. So if you're showing 65 on the humidity, you might be getting 75 to 80% humidity inside of your perigonal bracts, inside of your buds. Excuse me, Jesus. The environment, high humidity, already spoken about. Wounding. If you wound things, that's a good way for pathogens and things to enter directly into the vesicles, into the phloem and the xylem in the plant, and just get transported around. This is through Zentinol. Zentinol made this up. He's a good cannabis bloke. Matthew. So he tried us another. See, this is what you want to look for, as per this slide here. So you can see the graying and twisting the drying leaves. Why should it be so dry? And then inside of it, wow, you get this, it's horrible. And you can't do nothing with that. You can't extract, you can't do anything with it, because if you're going to try and do anything with it, you extract the fungi and all of their all the toxins mycotoxins that they have inside of it. It's not good, mate, at all. I'll go back to that one, leave that up for a bit, and just read the questions if there's any. If you don't mulch, good. I will contact you. Okay. Next one. Fungus gnats. I thought I'd throw this in. Horrible little bloody things. They don't really cause too much problems. They're more of a nuisance than anything, but they just, if they get two plague proportions is if there's more than 3 or 4 flying in any given time you see, I consider it a plague. Pains in the ass. But yeah, you just got to cover your soil. Different ways to do it. This is saying for prevention, put in Snenonema felti nematodes. They're the ones that really interact quite well with the fungus gnats. And then you got the hypoaspis. That also helps with soil in general. It just cruises around the soil. Yeah, and everybody will always have these sticky traps. They reckon that green attracts thrips. I don't know about that, but the sticky traps are good because you use them as an indicator, because you'll have a big blank card. Then you'll look at it and think, what's these dots on it? Then you'll pull it off, put it under a microscope. That's what you've got starting. So it's the best way to prevent an infestation. And if you do get it, it's saying you can use BT or Bacillus thuringiensis to eradicate them as well. Pythiums, or pyrethiums, they're going to kill all good bugs. So if you're going to spray, remember you're going to kill all the good shit as well, and that's not advised. It's organic approach for me. And that's what I'd like to put out to everybody, because it's sustainable agriculture, which needs to be done. So if you haven't got your cultivars not resistant enough to your conditions, well, make it resistant. Another thing, root aphids. Thank goodness I've never had any experience with them. But it says you got to look out for in your substrate just little tiny eggs like this that are going to get in and cause little spider mite looking black little, they're aphids, but that's what the little bugs are going to crawl around. You're going to see them. They got white and brown bodies, teardrop shaped. So yeah, then you'll know you've got root aphids, and apparently they're pretty hard to get rid of. If you ever have problems, full-on problems, you can do a soil drench, and it'll kill all your good microbes. Then you re-establish all of your good microbes again, and possibly just put a prevention in for them, which you would find what their pathogen, their bio-pesticide is, and treatment. Oh, here we go. Microhyserium species, they're entopathogenic fungi, which work against them. So you go and source that, as per it says on this slide, and try and treat it. Oh, here we're at the end. Trichomes. I just like it because it looks rad. It's really good. And you can see, oh, look, a bit of milky there. So it's starting. But this isn't on the, you don't grade cannabis from the green leaf material. It's from the perigonal bracts or the calyx, because they give false positives. So it'll ripen earlier. I think that's it. No, there's got to be something else. There's another cows. Here's something interesting. Cows that ate hemp produced milk with THC and CBD, this study suggests. I'm nearly at the end, guys, so if you've got any questions, save them up, or if you want to come up and if anybody's going to come up, they're going to be polite. There's no swearing on this channel. It's very, I don't know, as you'd want it. You don't want to put it under pressure and that sort of stuff. So it's just very relaxed, no swearing, no drug partaking, that type of thing. It's all about the research and the medical side of things and the genetics and the breeding. Back to it. So I'll put that up soon. New research I've already read that. And this is fascinating. So the dairy cattle, they chowed down on industrial hemp, which had a little tiny smidgen of THC. It depends when you harvest it. If you late harvest hemp, you will increase your THC. So they might have let theirs go and just had a lot more. And the cows, look, they even had red eyes. How funny is that? They yawned, salivated, red eyes. They're always hanging out, munching. Actually, you might increase your bulk yield. But anyway, I'm just talking about the study. This is important. Hemp. No. Legally, the US government defines hemp containing 0.3% less. As of 2018, it's no longer hemp's a controlled substance, which means it can be grown, harvested, tested, and sold and transported throughout the US legally. Cannabis, meanwhile, has higher percents and is at the present state federally not legal, but it is in the top. It's going to be legal soon. Many states are decriminalised. Yep, all know the law. The two types of something there's a good outcome down here. Through the research, they found that THC and CBD and other cannabinoids in the cow were in the cow's milk. They didn't test how drinking the milk would affect the human consumption. Well, if it's in there, we know from consumers and our knowledge that if you have edibles with it in there, the outcome's going to be according. You're going to open those receptors in your body, therefore getting the effect of it. The study did not allow conclusions to be drawn about the risk of it being on the market. And the study does not allow any conclusions to be drawn as to whether there is a health risk of consuming it on the market. Still, scientists did compare the amount of THC, and they found that it exceeded the European guidelines. And not only to see, we're not going to see this CBD enhanced milk on the shelf for a long time, says Jeff. Guess what, Jeff? You're wrong, mate. People are looking to infuse things at the moment. And if we can get naturally, organically infused things, that is such a win. Thank you, friend, for your study at the University of Oregon, State Oregon. So yeah, this is a win-win for people who want to do this, because if you can naturally get it, wow, that's very, even if the governments do not give farmers the go-ahead to feed dairy cows hemp, this doesn't rule out the possibility to feed you others that don't have human consumption, like lambs and goats and things, or if you don't consume them. Past research has also found that ingesting hemp led to lower stress levels among cows. See, it's even helping the blimmin' animals, which suggests it could be useful for calming livestock during stressful situations, such as transporting, weaning, or storms. I love it. All right, that's it. I think I'll go back to actually this and see if there's anything. This was today's. Oh, that was a big study. I'm not going to talk about on pathogens. Oh, yeah, that was talked about. You beauty. I think that's it. All right, I'm going to cruise up and see if there's any. I'll put a different background on. I'll put there's the link. If anyone wants to, remember, it's a polite show, so there's no swearing and it's no drug using and all that sort of stuff. I'll just scroll up and see if there's any questions. Otherwise, we're pretty done for today. I found, oh, here we go. I found a weed-infused tea bag in a drawer. See? There you go. Well done, PTP. Lovely. Grounding. Amos Outdoors, how are you? Bert, do they get you stoned? I'm not quite sure that's referring to. They didn't. Oh, he's talking in chat. Okay. Oh, here's a question from Peter. Does topsoil in an exclusively Are you kidding? I mentioned that ages ago. All right. That's obvious. I've been to, gee whiz. I scrolled up too much. All right. Looks like that's it. Gear changer. How you going, gear changer? Aussie Autos, Mick S, thanks everybody for rocking up. Peter, Lene, Mick S, Monty, PTP, Hamos Outdoors, Critter, good on you, Critter, thanks for your support. Peter, a few questions. CSL, Warm, and Anova says cheers. Montana says thanks, cheers, another good show. Hey Aussie, just passing, wanted to show support for your brother. Oh yeah, good on you. Thanks, Gear Changer. Very good. All right, I can give you a hint for next week. I'll show you what we're doing for next week. What I'm talking about next week's. Week 22. Here it is. Plants, nutrients in plants. And it looks like my lectures I've got to talk about. I'm talking about nutrients in plants. So how there are 19 elements that they require, and maybe talk about the cation exchange capacity and anion exchange and how they interact and why they're important and their amounts that they're important. And is that it? Syn leaf. Oh yeah, and there's a synthetic leaf that's been made that they've produced in the lab that actually photosynthesizes. I'm going to show that as well. That's really cool. So that's it. Peter, talk soon. Wanda E. Hello, Wanda E. Yes, the CEC and Nova, the cation exchange, is really, it's how the elements exchange with each other through electrical charges. And yeah, it's a little bit of a head mess, but once you get your head around it, I'll try and explain it in a level-headed way so it's not too technical. And yeah, it's really good. And then you can test for it. I've looked into plant testing and soil testing kits. So the ones, they're usually about like the top dollar. They're like $800, 1,000, and then only get 50 tests out of it. Or you can post one sample off to the government lab and they'll test once for $50. But to walk around and to test your plants at different stages of growth and your soil at different, or your substrates at different stages of growth, to know what's happening is great. And then you can really dial in your cultivars too, because different ones have different nutrient requirements, like humans. I've got a fast metabolism, so I might metabolize something faster than someone else. Same with plants, like Nukin was a nitrogen pig and Pink Death Butter was a phosphorus pig. No, potassium pig. It always used to get the curl, the edge of the leaves used to always go dry. So it's, yeah, it really helps. I'm going off track a bit. All right, Monty, key changer. Hey, g'day. So thanks everybody for today. And on my YouTube channel, there's a community section. If you've got any suggestions for any shows that you'd like, please leave them there or message me, and I can try and put that in the weeks to come. Because this is all to do with you guys, really. I'm not here talking for me. It's talking to help the community and help with education, so everybody can be on the same page. So thanks everybody for rocking up. And I'm going to end it. So thanks all, and happy breeding, happy growing, and good health to you all. Bye-bye.